All right, we're here to talk about a really fundamental shift in how enterprise software gets built. And look, this isn't just about some new tools. It's a whole new way of thinking that can unlock a massive competitive advantage and seriously accelerate innovation in your business. For years, big companies have been stuck with this frustrating choice. When you need critical software, the options have always been kind of flawed, right? You either go down the slow, incredibly expensive road of custom development, or you settle for a rigid, one-size-fits-all SaaS product that forces you to compromise. And either way, it's a painful trade-off. A traditional software house might promise you that perfect custom-fit solution, but it comes with sky-high costs and a really high risk that the project just fails. On the flip side, SaaS looks fast and easy, but it forces your unique business processes into their generic box, chipping away at the very things that make you competitive. But today, we're going to explore a third path, a much more strategic one. We're going to break down 5 key areas that show the clear, definitive advantage of partnering with a no-code agency. We'll cover everything from the tech and architecture to the direct financial and strategic impact on the business. Okay, let's dive right in. And we have to be super clear about this. This is not a niche trend for little side projects. What we're seeing is a fundamental, irreversible market shift. It's being driven by hard economic reality and a global shortage of top tech talent. I mean, the data here is just undeniable. Gartner is predicting that by 2025, a staggering 70% of all new applications built by enterprises will be using no-code or low-code. That's an incredible leap from where we were just a few years ago. Now, what's really interesting here is how this shift is completely reshaping the workforce. It's basically democratizing development. By 2026, we're going to see a 4-to-1 ratio of what are called citizen developers. Think of them as business experts solving their own problems to traditional coders. This is exactly how smart companies are getting around that critical IT talent bottleneck. So the technology is shifting. But how does that actually translate into real advantages for us? Well, it all comes down to architecture and efficiency. You see, the key benefit isn't just about being faster. It's about a fundamentally smarter, more leveraged way to build software. A traditional software house, for the most part, reinvents the wheel on every single project. They're coding basic things like user logins or reporting from scratch every time. A no-code agency, on the other hand, uses huge libraries of pre-built, battle-tested components. What does that mean? It means we can focus 100% of our effort and your budget on your unique business logic, not on boilerplate code. And this smarter architecture goes even deeper, especially with how we handle content. By using something called a Headless CMS, we separate the data from the front-end display. This gives you just ultimate flexibility. This same core content can power your website, your mobile apps, and your internal dashboards all at once. Oh, and by the way, research shows that this kind of architecture loads, on average, 38% faster. Now, this chart shows a pretty clear initial cost difference, right? The hourly rate is more than 50% lower, but honestly, the rate itself isn't the whole story. The real game changer is something we call asymmetric productivity. It's about delivering way more value and output for every single hour billed, and we're going to dig into that next. Okay, so what about that other option? Just buying an off-the-shelf SaaS tool. You know, the initial appeal of a low monthly fee can be really tempting, but it often hides some pretty significant long-term costs and strategic risks, especially for a complex business.
This gets to a problem called software bloat. SaaS companies cram their products with features to try and appeal to everybody. But the reality is, you end up paying for a mountain of complexity you will never, ever use. And even worse, audits consistently show that up to 40% of paid SaaS licenses just sit on a shelf, completely unused.
The risks go way beyond just cost, though. With SaaS, you basically become a hostage to the vendor's product roadmap, waiting forever for a feature that's critical for you. But even more dangerous is that you're forced to change your unique competitive processes to fit their rigid software. You slowly start to operate just like all your competitors. Beyond flexibility, there is a huge security issue to think about. Most SaaS products use what's called a multi-tenant architecture. That means your critical data is mixed together in the same database as your competitors. This can be a nightmare for compliance and creates performance risks from so-called noisy neighbors. With a dedicated no-code solution, you get your own single-tenant instance, giving you complete data isolation, guaranteed performance, and full control for audits. Okay, let's put some real numbers to this, because this isn't about being a little bit cheaper. This is about delivering an exponentially greater amount of value for every single dollar you invest in technology. Just take a look at these numbers. A project that might take a traditional firm 1,000 hours, costing you $85,000, can be delivered by a no-code agency in just 200 hours. So the final cost isn't half. It's almost a tenth of the original. That is the power of asymmetric productivity in action. And that brings us to the final piece of the puzzle. And this is where the true long-term strategic power really gets unlocked. This is about turning those massive cost savings into a self-funding engine for constant innovation. We all know they exist. Deep inside every big company, there's this hidden network of critical business processes, all running on fragile, insecure, and incredibly inefficient Excel spreadsheets. This is a huge hidden liability just waiting to cause a problem. For years, the crazy high cost of custom development made it impossible to justify fixing these smaller but still painful processes. A $7,500 price tag for a simple internal app was just a non-starter. But when that same app can be built for just $1,500, the entire calculation changes. It becomes an obvious high-return investment. And the results are absolutely transformative. Research from IDC shows that the average 3-year return on investment for these kinds of micro-modernization projects is an incredible 362%. And many companies see that number climb past 500% over 5 years. This creates this powerful flywheel effect, like a snowball rolling downhill. You start by fixing one small, painful process. You immediately see the savings in time and efficiency. You then reinvest those savings into digitizing the next process. Each small win funds the next one, building momentum and creating a culture of real organizational agility. So when you put it all together, the advantage becomes crystal clear. You get to market radically faster. You get unmatched cost efficiency, you get total flexibility without being locked into a vendor, and you get enterprise-grade security. Fundamentally, this is the strategic path to transforming IT from being a cost center into a true engine for agility and innovation. And that really leaves us with one final crucial question. In today's world, the choice isn't just about which technology you use anymore. It's a strategic choice about your future. So, are you investing your budget and creating leverage and agility for tomorrow, or are you just trapped servicing the debt of yesterday's models?